Hakkinen and a couple of his old drivers and a new driver now in a guy called Mario. And so Mario's in the mix for a potential McLaren drive or return to racing. But let's talk McLaren, because I've got Dan Pokarney alongside me, and he knows his McLarens because he's part of the deal here in San Francisco. And we've got an exhibition, if you will, of current production McLaren cars out on track, which I'm very excited about. One of the great stories, I think, and I think Bruce McLaren, I was saying, when he was looking down on the Formula One exhibition earlier, he'd be proud. But I think he'd be just as proud to see what the company has done in this realm, in this production realm, to come into this sphere of sports car, high-end racing car, sports cars is no mean feat when you do it against the likes of Ferrari, Lamborghini, and so on, Maserati. But they've done it, and they've done it with a plume, and they've succeeded. They've won Le Mans, and now these cars speak for themselves.
Absolutely. It's so nice to have the mix of cars here with the old cars, the historic cars, the classic cars, and our current cars. We're fortunate enough to be in the Bay Area, in between two awesome racetracks that we get to get a lot of track time with our clients, and it just affords us the great opportunity to enjoy these vehicles and enjoy the clients and the atmosphere that we're dealing with here.
And is it me, or is McLaren as a production base here in the States growing exponentially? I remember one of my friends started working for McLaren in New York and then came down to Dallas. But it seems now that I see a lot more of McLarens, both at events and racing, obviously, but also on the streets. It seems like McLaren is now starting to make its mark.
Definitely are. We've got a really good base of dealers throughout the U.S. And of course, we have our two dealers here in San Francisco and in Walnut Creek, which are able to service our clients, selling, service, and again, keeping these cars on the road. Again, we do, between our dealer groups, run a lot of track days. And again, super happy to see that our clients are out on track, enjoying their cars, both track and on street. And yeah, we're growing in numbers. I mean, we've been in the Bay Area now, McLaren, since 2011, and it is awesome to see the footprint that we have, now established with McLaren. It's hard for me. I got to pinch myself every now and then because it's a wonderful brand. Clients are awesome. Manufacturer, dealer network. I really, of course, I'm biased, but again, it's enjoyable. We're looking now. We've got about 16 of our clients on track right now. We've got P1 GTR, P1s, got our Arturas out there, 720s, 720S Spiders, 765 LTs, road-going Sennas. It's an exciting group of cars that, again, I get to enjoy on a daily basis, as part of my work that I do.
Now, the 650 came before, obviously, the 720, but they both went straight into racing. I mean, they're production based, but they went into a racing setup and were raced in GT and around the world.
Yeah, the sprint car.
Racing? Sprint car, yeah.
Yes, the sprint car. Yeah, the McLaren GT guys in the UK come out with a great product. They did go into the 650 with the GT car that they ran in a bunch of different series, both the US and in the UK. And then they morphed into with the GT4, the 570S GT4. That, of course, ran in the State in the IMSA series and the Pirelli Challenge series for a few years. And now we've actually got the 720 in really successful. So again, in a short amount of time, I think that, we're really making our mark and showing, the clients, the public, and everybody out there that are motorsports enthusiasts what brand this is, and, to steal your words, what Dennis was really about, Bruce McLaren, sorry.
Well, and Ron Dennis, to be honest, on the road
too.
Yeah,
so exactly. So, I mean, because
he was a very much an instrumental part while he was head of Formula One for McLaren. of making sure that the road cars, and I was about to ask you about that because I think Ron Dennis had a big hand in that. But yeah, like I said, Bruce McLaren I think would be proud. But Ron Dennis, I remember when the idea came out, and I was involved in Formula One at the time, and I thought, that's a crazy idea. Why would you build a sports car when you are known as a Formula One team and Ferrari are already in that space, Lamborghini are already in that space? How can you build out in a market like that and, you know, effectively, bold-facedly say, well, we're here and we're different? But they pulled it off, and I don't know, you're up close with these cars, and you know that people will make those comparisons with Ferraris, with Lamborghinis, and even with Porsche. But what to you makes the McLaren so different, if not unique?
Well, I guess the uniqueness has to come out there. The technology that McLaren comes with, of course, derived out of their F1 cars. You know, you see that directly in the car. You know, McLaren doesn't build anything that isn't necessary into their car. It's all about saving weight and performance. And so that, I believe, it really attracts our clients, especially the technical aspect of it, just with, you know, the hydraulic suspension, the active aero, you know, all this technology goes into the car. Our clients enjoy that, you know. And also the fact that any one of these McLarens, when it gets down to it, for the most part, you know, maybe a Senna GTR, no, but any of our road-going cars, you can go to dinner in it. You could drive to LA in it. You know, they're comfortable cars. They have the different settings in it so that they're still a very reliable road-going car.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit, because people who aren't au fait that much with supercars, as it were, may not know that. But you could basically set the suspension, as we see here, to be either controllable or get the tail out. And what I'm getting at is that these cars have those settings where you literally can be on, not cruise control, but you can have a setting where the car is in a sport mode, where it's lower, where the suspension gives you, the steering gives you more feedback, and so on and so forth. Talk a little bit about that, because as you say, or, you know, let's say you're not a performance driver and maybe your daughter or your son, but you don't want to be going crazy in it, it's just going to the shops in it and doesn't need all the modes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, exactly. So there are different settings for gearbox, suspension. You've got the soft setting, sport setting, and track setting, and you can mix those with the gearbox and engine management as well. So you can have the car in the performance portion on the engine management and gearbox shifting, but still have the suspension in the comfort mode, you know? And the other thing too about these cars is when you get in them, you put them in, and you can drive the car in automatic. Okay, it's a 7-spirit DTC gearbox that you can just jump in it, leave it in auto, drive the car, the computers do all the work for you, everything else. Very comfortable, very easy going for traffic and everything else. So it has that portion of it. And then, of course, you could drive it to the track, show up, put it into proper settings to stiffen up the suspension, change the mapping on the engine and gearbox setting, and go out and have a great time on track.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that McLaren's ethos, and correct me if I'm wrong, is more about design and innovation and technology than it is about 0 to 60 and, well, we've got the highest powered engine and the, you know, it's less about the stats and more about design and innovation and technology.
And you're correct there. And again, like I said, you know, everything that they do is for a purpose. I mean, if you want to get technical, the power steering pump on the vehicles that have the hydraulic suspension and the active suspension, that duals as the power steering pump, okay, to save weight. So McLaren designed this to, if you're going in a straight line, you can make suspension settings because you don't want to be doing them in a turn anyway.
No.
And then otherwise, that same pump is used as a power steering pump. So it's dual purpose, saves weight, engineering, space, and everything else. So
that's clever, yeah.
It really is. They're innovative, and you know, you got the carbon fiber chassis tub, the safety aspect of that, the lightweight. It's really it's amazing of what they've come up and how quickly they are able to adapt to new products. I mean, if you look at our new Atura,
Yeah.
that is a hybrid vehicle. It's first V6 twin turbo that Barrett's going to have in a production car. Still putting over 670 horsepower. Again, very good, very comfortable, easy to get in and out of vehicle. Again, can drive into different settings. Got the fuel economy there. Gets still, I believe, about 19 miles on the E mode. You know, so again, multi-use vehicle.
And for those of the fans that are here at Laguna Seca this weekend or watching today on the live stream and thinking of coming tomorrow, tell us where they can go and what they can look at while they're here.
So while we're here, we've got a couple of sets. Of course, we have our luxury collection group, which is our Price Sims Automotive dealership family that we have. And we have our McLarens there with Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, and Bentley. And that is over off right next to the F1 paddock.
Yep.
Okay, so we're situated over there. McLaren Corporate is off into the center, along with O'Gara. They have some vehicles on display. And we also got in the middle section by the, coming off of turn 10, is another of the Ultimate series that we have there, which is basically Elva, Senna, P1, and P1 GTR. And so there's a lot to work at. Come and talk with our sales guys, our parts guys. We've got apparel over there for sale for the people that want it. And ask questions.
What's your favorite?
My favorite car? That's a tough one.
I know.
I have to say the P1.
Okay.
Okay? The P1, as we're looking
Looking
on
at
the
it.
screen here at the beautiful volcano yellow.
It's a pretty yellow
You know,
car, isn't it?
beautiful spec P1. And again, you're talking technology, hybrid car, 903 horsepower.
903.
903 combined
Wow.
horsepower between the V8 and the hybrid motor.
That's amazing.
Has a boost mode, has race mode. You get all the interior in the cockpit with the boost and the turbos winding up. You get all that engaged feeling in the car. So it's a very driver's car, and it's brutal.
Well, Don, I want to talk to you for the rest of the day, but come back tomorrow and we'll do it again because I want to talk more McLaren. I'll get more genned up because I'll have more questions then. But Don Pokarney, I'll say it again. Let me get your last name right again.
Pokarney, got it.
Pokarney, I got it.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming in. Let's head down to Taylor because I